close your eyes, the wind howls through tattered sails. The deck groans beneath your feet. Salt burns your lips. And ahead, nothing but horizon. You're not in your bed anymore. You've woken up in the belly of a medieval ship. Cramped, cracked, creaking. The ocean doesn't care who you are, only if you can survive. No engines, no compass, no second chances. Just wind, wood, and willpower. This is not the ocean of postcards and paintings. This is the ocean of fear, hunger, storms, and silence. And you're about to live every breath of it. Welcome to the life of a medieval sailor. The call of the sea. You awaken to a sound that doesn't belong to any room you've ever slept in. It isn't an alarm clock. It isn't birdsong. It's the slow groan of timber, the stretching of rope, the distant lapping of waves. Your eyes open to the low wooden ceiling of a cramped berth. Above you, canvas shifts in the wind. You lie not in a bed, but on a pile of straw, packed against the side of a gently swaying ship. The floor tilts with each passing swell. The walls creak with every roll. You're no longer on land. There's a smell unmistakable and ancient. Salt, tar, damp rope, old wood soaked with years of brine. You sit up slowly. Your back aches, not from yesterday's sleep, but from days of hard labor. Your clothes are simple, a linen shirt that once was white but now is stained with sweat, salt, and smoke. Heavy wool trousers cling to your legs. Your boots are worn thin at the sole. This isn't a dream. You've been at sea for days. You're aboard a medieval vessel, maybe a sturdy cog with a single square sail, or a larger carrack bound for distant shores. It doesn't matter. The sea doesn't care what carries you, only that you've come. You rise, careful not to bang your head against the low beams, and push aside a hanging canvas to step above deck. The morning light hits your eyes, pale and watery, filtered through cloud. The sky stretches wide and gray. The ocean rolls endlessly in every direction. There's no land in sight, just water, sky, and what's beneath your feet. The ship groans as it cuts through the waves, her hull bending and flexing like an old spine. The deck is alive with motion. Sailors shuffle past you, ropes slung over their shoulders, faces lined with wind and fatigue. A boy no older than 12 hauls a bucket toward the bow. Teeth clench against the weight. Another man coughs near the rail, spitting into the sea. A gull circles once overhead, then disappears into the gray. This is your life now. Not a passenger, not a visitor. A sailor, bound to the sea by rope, by duty, by the unspoken oaths of survival. The captain shouts something from the quarterdeck. His voice is rough and sharp, shaped by years of shouting over wind and wave. Orders are given. Sails shift. The ship turns slightly, barely perceptible unless you've learned to feel the subtle language of wood and wind. You walk across the deck, boots thudding softly on damp planks. You pass a mast, thick as a tree trunk, with rigging rising like spiderwebs above you. Every knot, every pulley, every line has its purpose, and every man must know his place. On this ship, there's no room for hesitation. You stop at the side rail, gripping it with your callous hands. The ocean stretches forever, a flat plain of blue-gray, rippling gently beneath the light. It's peaceful, but it's not kind. It has no memory and no mercy. It doesn't care who you are or where you came from. It only knows whether you sink or stay afloat. Behind you, someone mutters a prayer in Latin. Another hums a wordless tune. A sea shanty, half forgotten, passed down from some coastal village long ago. Time is different here. Days are marked by the sun's slow arc across the sky. Hours are kept in bells, not numbers. Morning watch, midday watch, evening watch. Work, rest, watch again. There are no calendars, only wind direction, sail tension, and the rhythm of the waves. Your stomach grumbles. Breakfast comes in the form of hardtack, dry, square biscuits as tough as leather. You chew slowly, careful not to break a tooth. It's not the taste that sustains you. It's the habit. Something to keep your hands and mouth busy while your mind stays quiet. Below deck, the hold is packed tight with cargo. Barrels of salted fish, sacks of grain, bundles of wool. The ship carries goods, not comfort. You sleep beside rats. You eat beside strangers. You work beside men who may not live to see the next port. Somewhere far away, a storm brews. You don't see it yet, but you feel in the air a tightness in the wind, a shift in pressure. The old sailor with the white beard crosses himself and spits into the sea. He's seen storms come from clear skies. He's heard the wind scream like a dying man. He knows what the ocean can take. You try not to think about storms. Not yet. You focus on the moment, the small tasks, coiling rope, scrubbing deck, checking the rudder lashings. Every job is vital. Every job is vital. Every action keeps the ship alive, and by extension, keeps you alive too. You pass the cook, a squat man with missing teeth, and a ladle he treats like a weapon. He stirs something in a pot, a stew of lentils, dried meat, and salt. It smells better than it tastes, but you nod in thanks. Gratitude is currency on a ship. So is silence. As the day wears on, the wind shifts, the sail tightens, the ship leans into breeze. Spray arcs over the rail, catching your cheek. You don't flinch. You've learned not to. Evening approaches. The sky darkens slightly. Clouds stretch long and low across the horizon. The sun dips toward the water, casting silver light across the rolling sea. Somewhere behind you, someone begins to sing again, a low melody with no words. Just sound, like the creak of the hull, like the slap of water against the bow. You sit on a coil of rope, legs stretched out, staring at the sea. You think about the land, about what it feels like to walk on earth that doesn't move, about trees that don't sway with the waves, about silence not filled with wind. But you also feel something else, a pull, a quiet understanding. This ship, for all its discomforts, is a world unto itself, a floating island of wood and will, of hierarchy and order, of risk and trust. And you are part of it. You watch the sky change. Stars emerge, one by one, until the night is a dome of cold brilliance. The constellations shift overhead. The same stars seen by Roman galleys and Viking longships, by Phoenician traders and ancient fishermen. Sailors before you, sailors long gone, all guided by the same light. You lie down on the deck. No mattress, just rope and wood beneath your back. The ship rocks gently, and your body rocks with it. You close your eyes. The sounds remain, the creak of beams, the flap of canvas, the sigh of wind. You are not on land anymore, but you're not lost. You're on the sea, and the sea has taken you in. Life aboard the ship. The day begins before the sun rises, not with alarm bells or sunrise routines, but with a shift in motion. The ship rocks differently now. The wind has changed. You feel it before you're fully awake. Your body knows what's expected. You rise slowly from your bed of straw. Your shoulders sore from yesterday's labor. There's no warm light, no bird song, only the faint groan of the timbers and the smell of sea brine and damp wool. A splash of cold water on your face from a nearby bucket is your morning ritual. It stings your skin. You're already awake, but now you're alert. You wrap a coarse scarf around your neck and climb the ladder to the deck. Above, the deck is slick with ocean mist. The boards beneath your feet are never fully dry. The brine seeps in through every gap. Your boots slip just a little with each step. So you walk carefully, head down, hands steady on the rail. Around you, the early crew is already in motion. A boy no older than 14 coils thick rope into a careful circle. His hands move with practice, even though they're blistered. An older sailor is patching a torn sail, needle moving steadily through stiff canvas. Another man is hauling buckets of seawater to scrub the deck. There is no luxury here, only necessity. Every sailor has a role, and you've learned yours. You check the cargo lashings, thick ropes wrapped tight around barrels and crates. Each one essential, each one a hazard if it shifts. If the cargo comes loose in a storm, it can crush a man or tear the ship apart. You pull the knots tight and test their weight. Next, you haul fresh barrels from the lower hold to the galley. Your back protests with every step. You move carefully. The steps are steep, and the ship is never still. One wrong shift in balance, and you'll find yourself bruised or worse. There is no one to complain to, no one who will listen. On this ship, pain is a companion, hunger is familiar, discomfort is normal. The cook hands you a wooden bowl without looking. It's filled with a stew of beans and salt pork. It smells better than it tastes, but it's warm and you're grateful. You eat standing up, back against the mast, one hand on your spoon, the other holding the bowl steady as the ship sways. Breakfast comes with lukewarm beer, safer than water, since the stored barrels often grow foul. You sip slowly. It's bitter but clean. The beer dulls the edge of the salt in your mouth. That's enough. You glance toward the bow, where two men are untangling netting. They're not fishermen, not really. But sometimes the sea offers something extra, and a net cast at the right time brings fish to your table. Other times, it brings nothing at all. Above you, the sails flap and snap. The wind has grown stronger, steady out of the northwest. The captain's voice cuts through the morning air, ordering the main sail trimmed. You grab the rigging instinctively. It burns your palms, even through the leather. You climb halfway up the shrouds, body pressed close to the ropes, and begin to adjust the lines. The sail groans as it shifts. The ship leans into the wind. You hold tight as the world tilts around you. A man below shouts something, a warning or a joke, you're not sure, but it doesn't matter. You nod, finish your task, and climb down. Everything here is repetition, muscle memory. You don't think too much. You just move. You just do. You hear laughter for the first time that day, low and tired, but real. Two men play dice on an overturned crate. The stakes are small, a bit of tobacco, a square cloth, a dried figure. But the game offers something more valuable, distraction. There's no privacy on the ship. None. You sleep in the hold, shoulder to shoulder with men and mice. Cargo stacked to the ceiling. Hammocks swing side by side. A cough, a snore, a whispered prayer. Every sound becomes familiar. You've seen a man weep into his hands after a dream. You've seen another wake up screaming, convinced he'd fallen overboard in the night. You've seen fights break out over boots, over food, over nothing. And you've seen the quiet kindnesses, too. A sailor sharing a blanket. A younger crewmate offered an extra biscuit. A rough hand on a shaking shoulder. This life is hard, but it's not without heart. Later in the day, you help repair a section of the hull where water has seeped in. You hammer wedges into the seams, smear tar along the cracks. It's sticky work, and the smell clings to your clothes. But the leak is slow, and with care you stop it. There is no carpenter on board, no trained mechanic. Just men who've learned by watching, learned by surviving. Every hand is a tool. Every mistake is a lesson. By midday, the sun hangs high and harsh. The deck is hot underfoot. You shed your cloak, tuck it into a crate. Sweat stings your eyes. The wind dies a little. The ship slows. Men mutter. A still ship is a nervous ship. No wind means no movement, and too long without movement means water shortages, spoiled food, and drifting far off course. The captain consults the stars at night. During the day, he uses a quadrant and the horizon. You don't understand the numbers, but you respect the skill. One miscalculation and you're lost. That afternoon, a gull lands on the masthead. It sits there, blinking slowly. A sign. Perhaps that land is not too far away. Or perhaps just a wandering bird. Either way, it lifts spirits. A few men smile. One says he remembers a port with fried fish and cold cider. Another says he'll kiss the dirt and sleep on the beach. They laugh. Then they work. Laughter doesn't last long on a ship, but it matters. Dinner is simpler than breakfast. Just hardtack, a dry, rock-hard biscuit that you have to soak in beer just to chew. You crack one open and find weevils inside. No one blinks. You tap them out and eat the biscuit anyway. Protein, someone jokes. Night comes slowly. The sea reflects the moonlight, pale and shimmering. The ship creaks less now. The wind has calmed. It's a gentle sway, almost soothing. You take your place on the night watch, staring out the waves, eyes scanning for ships, rocks, or strange lights. The sea is dark. The sea is endless. But it's beautiful, too. Stars stretch from horizon to horizon. The sky is impossibly wide. You breathe in salt air and try to stay awake. When your shift ends, you climb below deck. You lie in your hammock, swaying with the rhythm of the waves. Men around you snore and shift in their sleep. A rat scurries somewhere in the dark. You close your eyes. This life is not easy. It is not clean. It is not soft, but it is yours. And tomorrow it begins again. The storm doesn't announce itself with thunder. It begins with silence. The wind dies. The sea grows still, too still. The sails hang limp, and even the creak of the rigging seems to hush. The crew senses it. No one says a word, but their hands move faster. Lines are checked. Barrels are tied down. The cook locks the galley door. You look up and see the sky changing. Where there was blue, there's now a creeping wall of gray. Clouds, low and fast, building like smoke over the water. A bruise forming in the sky. Then comes the wind. It starts with a single gust, sharp and sudden, whipping your cloak around your legs. Then another, then more. The sails snap like whips. The ship lurches. A barrel tips and rolls until it's caught against the mast. The quiet is gone, replaced by chaos. You scramble to the rigging. Your fingers fumble on wet rope. The wind howls through the lines, a high, screaming sound that cuts into your ears. The captain is shouting. Orders fly, lost in the roar. The first wave hits like a punch. It slams the starboard side, soaking half the crew in one blow. Salt water stings your eyes. You taste the sea on your lips. Someone is knocked off their feet. You grab a rope, hold tight, dig your heels into the slick wood. Another wave crashes over the bow. The ship rises, groans, and drops. The deck vanishes beneath foam and spray. Water floods the scuppers. You help a man who's been thrown against the rail. His forehead is bleeding. He nods thanks, then crawls back to the mainmast. No one is dry now. No one is safe. The sails are reefed shortened to keep them from ripping. You help tie down the last section of canvas with hands that no longer feel the rope. Your arms ache. Your back screams. You keep going. Rain comes hard and cold. It pelts the deck, the crew your face. It doesn't wash the salt away. It adds to it. Your clothes cling like wet parchment. Everything is slick. Everything is cold. Lightning flashes. It cuts across the sky like a sword, briefly lighting up the terrified faces of your shipmates. One man is crossing himself. Another is muttering to a saint, a prayer half remembered from childhood. You don't even know who you're praying to. You just say words and hope they're heard. Thunder follows, a deep, rolling growl that vibrates through the hull. Then the wind picks up again, fierce, furious. It tears at the sails, rattles the masts, makes the ship groan like a wounded animal. You're on your knees now, bailing water with a bucket. There's no time to rest. If the water wins, you all lose. You throw out pail after pail, hands numb, arms burning. Beside you, a man vomits over the rail, then wipes his mouth and keeps working. A barrel breaks loose, crashes into the side of the galley, and bursts open. Flour, now ruined, spills across the deck and into the sea. Supplies gone. Food wasted. No one can stop to mourn it. The wind shifts again. You hear the crack, a terrible splintering sound. The mainmast is damaged. It leans now just slightly, but enough to draw a collective breath from the crew. If it snaps, the whole ship could go with it. The captain is on deck. His coat is soaked. His hair clings to his face, but his voice cuts through the noise, steady and firm. He points. He commands. You move. Everyone moves. You join 3 others to brace the mast with ropes. You work in silence. Nothing matters except keeping the ship upright. Wave after wave slams the hull. Each one feels harder than the last. You can't see the sky anymore, only water, sky, and shadow in a churning, endless blend. Hours pass like minutes. Or maybe minutes stretch into hours. You've lost track. There is no time in a storm. You exist only in motion, climb, brace, hull, bail, repeat. At one point you slip, the deck tilts hard. Your boots skid. For a moment, you're airborne, falling. Then your knee slams into a beam. Pain shoots through your leg. But you don't stop. You can't stop because no one else has. A rope wraps around your forearm. You pull yourself back up, teeth clenched, breath ragged. You whisper another prayer, this one barely a sound. The storm begins to ease. Not all at once, but gradually. The rain softens. The wind dulls. The sea, though still wild, no longer slams the ship with blind rage. The crew is quiet, too tired to speak. Some slump against barrels. Others sit where they are, chests heaving. You find a spot near the mainmast and sit down. Your leg throbs. Your hands shake. But the ship is still moving. You've made it through. A boy brings you a flask, beer, warm and flat. You drink it anyway. It steadies your breath. The cook, pale and wet, appears with bread. It's hard and dry, but it's food. You chew slowly. Your teeth ache. Your fingers are raw, but you're alive. You look around at the faces of the crew, grim, lined, exhausted, and you realize something. This isn't a one-time horror. This is the life. Storms are part of it. They come with no warning and leave wreckage behind. In timber, in bodies, in spirits. But the ship survives because the people aboard make it survive. And so, do you? That night, the deck is washed clean by the rain. The clouds begin to part. Stars appear, faint and distant, scattered like lanterns across the sky. The sails are raised again. The ship moves forward. You lie back in your hammock, soaked cloak pulled over your shoulders. The storm is gone, but your body remembers it. And you know, tomorrow might bring another. But for now, the sea is calm. The sky is clear. The ship creaks gently in rhythm with the waves. And for the first time in days, you fall into sleep. Not peaceful, but earned. Morning doesn't arrive with sunlight. It arrives with orders. Even before the sky brightens, the deck stirs to life. A sharp voice cuts through the damp air. All hands. The sound echoes off the wood, off the sails, off the sea itself. You scramble from your hammock, boots in hand, muscles sore from the storm the night before. There's no time to stretch, no moment to breathe. You just move, because on this ship, the captain is not just a man. He is law. He is order. He is the only thing standing between this fragile wooden vessel and the black, bottomless sea. His name is spoken with respect and caution. No one jokes about the captain. No one questions him. His boots strike the deck like a drumbeat, and silence follows in his wake. His coat is thick wool, his hat wide-brimmed to shield against sun or rain. He walks with his hands behind his back and eyes that miss nothing. The captain doesn't shout unless he needs to. His silence does the work. His expectations are known, and his punishment is consistent. This is not cruelty. This is control. On land, you might argue with a boss or ignore a petty rule. Out here, there's no room for that. Disobedience can sink a ship. The code of the sea isn't written on parchment or nailed to a mast. It lives in the crew's bones. Rules passed down from sailor to sailor, refined by centuries of brine and wind. Every man aboard knows his place, and the captain is always at the top. He decides when sails rise, when they drop, when rations are cut, when ports are approached. His judgment is final. His orders are law, and when those orders are broken, punishment follows. This morning, a young sailor, barely more than a boy, is tied to the mast. He's trembling. His eyes dart toward the captain, then to the deck, then back again. He was caught shirking his duty during the storm, resting when others were bailing water. The boatswain steps forward, rope in hand. 10 lashes. No one looks away, but no one watches too closely either. The crack of rope on skin cuts through the morning mist. The boy stifles a cry. It's not about pain. It's about the lesson. Out here, weakness spreads, like rot in the hull, like a tear in the sail. One man's laziness can drown a dozen others. Everyone knows it. That's why no one complains. The captain turns away before the final lash. He's not a monster, but he knows what it takes to survive. Afterward, the boy is helped below deck, given salve, a piece of bread. No one speaks of it again. Discipline isn't personal. It's protection. This code doesn't stop with punishment. It also governs your duties, your behavior, your reward. When storms hit, when pirates approach, when sickness spreads, it's a code that keeps panic from tearing the ship apart. Each man knows what to do, who to listen to, where to stand, when to stay silent. And the captain knows everything. He knows the ship better than its builder. He can read the wind like a book. He watches the sails with the eye of a hawk and senses the ocean's moods before they arrive. You learn to move like he does, deliberate, steady, never wasting energy. When the captain stands by the rail, staring into the horizon, the crew knows not to interrupt. He's reading something none of you can see. A change in clouds, a shift in current, a shadow too far off to name. And when he speaks, you move. You trust him, because he's the only one who knows the way. Navigation is not science as you know it. It's memory, instinct, math scribbled in the margins of a logbook. The stars are maps. The sun is a clock. And the wind, when read right, is a compass. The captain teaches the quartermaster how to chart a course. He teaches a helmsman when to turn. He teaches you when to hold your tongue. You obey, not because you're afraid, but because you want to live. There are stories, whispered at night, about ships with weak captains, ships that broke apart during arguments, crews that turn on each other, mutinies, blood in the scuppers, broken compasses, doomed voyages. Not here. Here, the chain of command holds strong. Below the captain, the first mate runs the daily operations. Below him, the bosun keeps the crew in line. Then come the seasoned sailors, then the deckhands, and finally, green hands like you. You rise by proving yourself, not through talk, but through grit. Every rope coiled right, every knot tied firm, every watch kept sharp. The code rewards this. A man who works hard might get better rations, a longer sleep shift, a moment of the captain's nod, the quiet recognition that you've done well. That nod means more than gold. And yet, the discipline isn't only about rules and punishment. There's a strange kind of peace in it, a rhythm. You wake when told, you eat when allowed, you labor until your muscles burn, and you sleep when you're permitted. No questions, no confusion. In that structure, you find safety. You know what each day will bring. Even if it's pain or hunger or windburn, it's predictable. You are a gear in a great wood machine, oiled by sweat, powered by will. And the captain is the hand on the tiller. You see him again that night, writing in his logbook by lantern light. His face is lined, his fingers ink-stained. He pauses between words, listening to the creak of the hull and the slap of waves. He knows this ship's every sound. He knows your name. He knows the risks that lie ahead, and he carries them all in his mind silently, relentlessly. Sometimes, when the sea is calm and the wind gentle, you see something strange in him. Not softness, but solitude, the loneliness of command, the weight of lives balanced on one man's judgment. He doesn't show it, but you see it, and you respect it, because while sailors might laugh and fight and sleep side by side, the captain sleeps alone. He stands alone, and if the storm comes again, and it will, it's his voice that will rise above the wind, his hand that will hold the course, his will that will keep the sea from claiming you all. So you follow the code, you pull your weight, you obey the order, and in that obedience you survive that night. Your hammock sways gently with the rhythm of the ship. The deck is quiet. The sky is black but clear. You feel the ache in your shoulders, the sting of rope burn on your hands, the salt in your hair, but you sleep with the knowledge that order holds. The chain is unbroken, and somewhere above, the captain still stands watch. It begins quietly, a cough in the night, then another. You don't think much of it at first. Everyone coughs at sea. The wind dries out your throat. The salt stings your lungs. But this is different. It lingers. It spreads. A sailor named Willem is the first to fall. He can't keep food down. His gums are swollen and red. When he smiles, if he smiles, his teeth seem loose. His skin bruises from simple tasks. A small cut on his palm refuses to heal. It turns black around the edges. You've heard of it before, not from a scholar, but from sailors. The rot, they call it. Scurvy. There is no doctor aboard, just herbs, prayers, and guesswork. Some say it's a curse from the sea. Others say it's caused by bad spirits in the air. No one truly knows. What they do know is this. When scurvy appears, it does not leave quietly. The ship smells different now. Not just salt and wood, but rot. You catch it when you pass the hold. The stench of sick breath and dying flesh. It lingers on blankets and in the cracks between planks. The air itself feels heavier. Willem stops coming up the deck. Then it's Jero, the old man with the crooked foot. Then young Tomas, barely more than a boy. They lie below now, under thin blankets, whispering fever dreams and mumbling names from childhood. Above deck, the crew works with fewer hands. No one speaks of the sickness directly. To name it is to invite it. Superstition rules here more than science. You wash your hands more than usual. You tie a cloth around your nose and mouth when you go below. But none of it matters, because there is no cure. Scurvy is a disease of absence, a silent scream from the body, begging for something it cannot name. Fresh fruit, vegetables. A single orange could turn a man around, but there are none, not out here. The food on board is killing you slowly. You eat salted fish, weeks old, hardtack biscuits that shatter teeth and harbor weevils, dried beans, beer that has turned sour. There's no vitamin C, no citrus, no green, just gray and brown and rot. You begin to feel it in your own joints, a stiffness, a dull ache behind your eyes. You try not to notice, but it's there, lurking. The captain does what he can. He orders vinegar to be boiled, hoping the fumes will kill whatever haunts a hold. He lets the healer, an older sailor with knowledge passed down through rumor, try poultices and teas. Nothing helps. One morning, a man doesn't wake up. He lies still in his hammock, eyes half-lidded, pale. A silence falls over the crew. There's no ceremony, just quiet. The dead sailor's body is wrapped in canvas. His few possessions, a spoon, a rosary, a broken pipe, are placed in a bag. The bag will be burned. The body won't. At the edge of the deck, the crew gathers. The wind is cold. The waves slap against the hull like hands. The captain says a prayer, not because he believes, but because he must. It's part of the code. Then, without a sound, the body is slipped overboard. You watch the canvas sack disappear beneath the gray waves. The sea does not react. It simply takes what it is given. One less sailor. One more secret in the deep. That night, no one sings. No one talks. The wind seems quieter. The creak of the ship louder. You lie awake in your hammock, staring at the wooden beams above. You think about your own body, about the cuts that take too long to heal, about the bruise on your thigh that hasn't faded. You chew slowly, wondering if your gums are swelling too. You wonder if tomorrow you'll wake up feeling heavier, or if you'll wake up at all. But the ship keeps moving. The sails stay full. Duties continue, because they must. That's the cruelty of it. The ship doesn't stop for death. No port, no harbor, no doctor waiting on shore. Just wind, salt, time, and sickness. When you bring water to the hold, Tomas grabs your hand. His fingers are cold. His eyes are red and desperate. He asks for his mother. She's not here. She's hundreds of miles and centuries away. You squeeze his hand, say nothing and move on. Some say a ship like this is a coffin with sails. They're not wrong. But even in this darkness, there's order. The crew starts a new routine. Bedding is aired out daily. Blankets are beaten clean. Hammocks are spaced wider apart. Water is boiled. Salted meat is scraped and soaked, hoping to make it less foul. And the healer brews something different. A bitter tea made from a barrel of soaked pine needles. It's a gamble, based on a rumor he heard in a northern port. Pine, they say, might help. It's disgusting, but you drink it anyway. Some sailors improve. Their color returns. Others don't. A second body is lost to the sea. This one is not wrapped in canvas. There wasn't enough left to wrap. The captain adds their names to the logbook. Just 2 lines. No details. No last words. Just a name, a date, and a single mark. You start to notice how quiet the ship has become. No one whistles. No one tells stories. Even the rats seem to have gone still. The sea rolls on indifferent. One night, while scrubbing the deck alone, you look up at the stars. They seem brighter than usual. Colder. You wonder if they watched over every sailor who's ever died like this. And if they remember any of them. You don't pray, but you do whisper a name. Not for the sea to hear, but for yourself. Because the worst part isn't the sickness. It's the forgetting. When you're sick at sea, you don't just die. You vanish. No grave, no stone, no eulogy. Just canvas, rope, water, and gone. Eventually, the coughs grow fewer. The healer's tea helps. Or maybe the sickness has simply run its course. Those who are still alive begin to speak again. Laughter returns in short bursts. You hear a song hummed quietly near the bow. Life returns. The ship creaks. The wind whispers. And the sails swell once more. You've survived another trial. Another test. But you know better now. You know how thin the line is between duty and death. Between a healthy man and a fading shadow. And you know the sea always waits. Always. There's a shout from the crow's nest. At first, you don't react. A sailor shouts a dozen things a day. Goes, wails, sails on the horizon. Most amount to nothing. But then you see it for yourself. A pale shape against the sea's edge. Faint, still, like a smudge in the sky. Another ship. The call ripples through the deck. Not quite panic. Not quite excitement. Just tension. Stretched thin like a worn-out rope. The sea is a road without signs. A crossroad without rules. When another vessel appears, it can mean anything. Trade, rescue, news from home, or something else entirely. You squint into the haze. It's still too far to tell. Just a dark shape under heavy sails. Could be a merchant cog. Could be a patrol. Could be worse. Could be pirates. Every sailor knows the stories. Galleys that drift silently until it's too late. Crews painted in blood and ash. Ships that bear no flags, no names, no mercy. Men who live by blade and fire, who take what they need and leave only smoke behind. Or maybe it's no one. Maybe it's a ghost ship. One of those phantom vessels that appear only in fog, carrying the dead or the damned. But the captain gives no order to flee. That's its own message. You hold position. Wait. Watch. As the shape draws nearer, your mind fills in its outline. A low hull, square sails, a dark wooden deck lined with unfamiliar faces. They're watching you, too. Flags are raised. Not ones you recognize. Not English. Not French. Not anything you've ever seen sewn or painted. The two ships drift closer, but not too close. No cannon fire. No shouted threats. Just quiet observation. And then, a small boat is lowered from their side. Oars dip into the sea. It approaches slowly, deliberate, cautious. 5 men aboard. One stands. He raises an arm in greeting. You're called to help with the lines. The boat draws alongside. Faces appear, brown-skinned, bearded, wrapped in wool and linen. They speak a language you don't understand. One man, the leader maybe, holds up a bundle wrapped in cloth. It's a gift. Your captain steps forward. There's a pause. No one moves. Then slowly, the gift is accepted. Inside, dried dates, almonds, and a vial of thick green oil that smells like crushed herbs. It's unfamiliar, but welcome. Your ship offers smoked fish, old cheese, and a spare coil of rope in return. No papers are signed. No formal deals. Just an exchange of necessities and nods of mutual survival. Then, just as slowly, the strangers row back to their ship. Their sails are hoisted. Their vessel drifts east, fading into mist. And you're alone again, but something's changed. You saw it in their eyes. Not hostility, not fear, but curiosity. The same thing stirring inside you. The sea is wide, but you are not the only ones upon it. You begin to realize how little you know of what lies beyond the horizon. Stories fill the silence that follows. Some sailors say those men were traders from the Levant. Others claim they were Moroccan corsairs. One insists he saw the black eye of a sea which painted on the ship's prow, a ward against demons. The tales spiral into the fantastical. A man speaks of sirens, sea women with long hair and eyes like polished stones. He says they sing in the fog, calling out names they couldn't possibly know. Another swears he once saw an island that floated, not anchored to the earth, but gliding with the tide, vanishing when chased. You don't know what to believe, but something inside you wants to believe all of it. The world feels bigger now, stranger. You spend days thinking only of ropes and rations. Now your eyes lift the horizon, wondering what else is out there. Then the fog rolls in. It comes without warning. A white curtain drops from the sky. Vision shrinks. The sea becomes sound, waves slapping wood, rigging creaking overhead. The captain calls for lanterns. The sails are reefed. You drop anchor to drift in safety. It's silent, utterly silent. You can't see the other end of the ship. Can't see your hand fully stretched out. You could be anywhere. Time feels different in fog, as if minutes stretch into hours, hours into something eternal. And then you hear it, a voice, soft, singing. It drifts through the mist like a thread of music. You freeze. Others hear it too. Heads turn. Feet stop. The melody is wordless, or in a tongue loss of memory. It rises and falls like a tide. A sailor begins to weep. Another covers his ears. You hold your breath. Is it real, or is the sea playing tricks? The song fades. The fog lifts. The sky reappears, pale and empty. The moment passes, but it stays with you, like a dream you can't explain. No one talks about it after. That's the rule. Things at sea can be spoken into truth. Better to forget. But at night, lie in your hammock. You hum the tune, not because you believe in sea spirits, but because silence is heavier than sound. In the days that follow, more strange things appear. A school of flying fish, hundreds leaping in silver arcs across the bow, a whale surfacing at dusk, its eye glinting in the dying sun, a dead albatross circling overhead, refusing to fall. The ocean reveals itself not as a road, but as a realm, vast, ancient, and alive. You see strange lights underwater, green glows that pulse and fade. Some say it's sea fire, others say it's something else. You hear stories of sea serpents longer than the ship, of mermaids who bargain in riddles, of islands that trap time itself. You don't dismiss them anymore, because the longer you're out here, the more you realize the line between fact and myth is thinner at sea. Your dreams shift. They fill with salt and smoke, with shapes that move beneath waves, with voices that call from beyond the mist. You wake with your heart pounding, unsure if it was sleep or memory. One night, on watch duty, you see lights in the distance, not stars, but lanterns. A fleet, maybe, a village on a drifting isle, or just other sailors trying to stay sane. You raise a hand in silent greeting. They don't answer, but the light stays steady. And sometimes that's enough. You learn that not all encounters end in battle or blood. Some end in quiet understanding, in exchange goods, in wordless songs shared across fog and time. You stare into the endless gray of dawn and wonder, how many ships passed here centuries ago, seeing the same horizon? How many hands gripped the same ropes, dreaming of home, fearing the unknown? You are not the first. You will not be the last. The sea stretches out before you, full of stories half sunk, voices half heard, truths half told. You take the helm again, eyes scanning the waves, not just for land, not just for danger, but for wonder, landfall and the dream of shore. You feel it before you see it, a shift in the breeze, a softness in the air. The gulls return, circling overhead with cries sharper than any you've heard for weeks. The scent changes too. The salt is still there, but now it's touched with something else, green, earthy, alive. And then the cry goes up, land. You scramble to the rail with the others, hearts pounding, eyes scanning the horizon. There it is, faint at first, a line where sky meets sea, but growing, becoming shape, becoming color. Land. It doesn't matter what kind. A jungle fringe coast, a craggy cliff, a cluster of thatched rooftops huddled by a cove. It's land, solid, unmoving, unmoved. The dream of every sailor turned real. There's a moment of silence on deck. No one speaks. It's as if saying anything would break the spell. Then the work begins. The sails are trimmed, the anchor readied. The ship eases closest shore, careful not to strike reefs or run aground. You move with purpose, but also disbelief. After so many days at sea, land feels like a legend. The ship rocks gently in shallow water. A small boat is lowered. You're chosen to go ashore. You descend into the boat, your sea legs uncertain. The oars dip. The boat glides forward. The scent grows stronger. Grass, wood smoke, fruit. You can almost taste it. And then your feet touch earth. Not wood, not rope, not shifting, groaning deck. Earth. It's soft, strange, too still. The ground doesn't move beneath you. You stagger, not out of fear, but habit. It takes time to trust the land again. You kneel and press your palm to the soil. It's warm. The beach is narrow. Palms sway overhead. A few figures wait in the shade. Local traders, perhaps, or villagers sent to greet you. They watch without speaking. You nod in greeting. No one needs words. You're not the first ship they've seen. Back on the ship, cargo is prepared. Barrels are rolled, crates hauled, sacks slung over shoulders. Wool from northern flocks, salted fish, clay pots, kegs of wine, spices sealed tight in wax linen. You unload slowly, methodically, each item passed down by hand, foot by foot, until it rests on the dock. In return, goods appear from the land, coconuts and bananas, fine woven cloth, dried herbs you've never smelled before, gold dust in tiny pouches. One man carries live chickens in a basket. Another offers beads strung from shells and bone. It's not always fair. Sometimes it's generous. Sometimes not. But this is trade. This is survival. Your captain oversees it all. Calm, calculating. He checks every barrel, every coin. He nods once, approval, and disappears to the nearest dwelling to speak with officials or to drink until dawn. The rest of you are given a few hours shore leave. You enter the village, feet stiff on unfamiliar ground. The houses are simple, timber, clay, palm thatch. Children peek from behind walls. Dogs sniff the air and slink away. There's food cooking somewhere, something roasting in a pit. Your stomach growls. A woman passes by carrying a jug on her head. She laughs when she sees your awkward land walk. You smile, shrug, and keep walking. The air is different here, warm but soft, not like the sea's harsh breath. You feel your skin begin to forget the salt. You blink against the brightness of the colors. Green leaves, red cloth, blue skies so wide it hurts. You find a stream and kneel to wash. The water is cool. It tastes like stone and moss. It tastes like life. Later, you sit under a tree and simply breathe. For a few moments, you forget the ship. You forget the rats and the hardtack, the endless creaking, the wet canvas smell, the nightmares of storms. Here there is stillness, but it doesn't last. Even on land, the sea follows you. Your hands twitch for rigging. Your ears strain for flap of sails. Your body aches not from labor, but from the absence of motion. You're a sailor now. The ocean has marked you. When the sun begins to fall, you return to the boat. Others do the same. Silent, thoughtful, changed. The tide pulls the vessel gently away from the dock. You climb back aboard. The deck feels smaller now, tighter, less real, but it's yours again. You help load the last of the trade goods. You check the ropes. You eat a mango slowly, savoring every bite. Tomorrow, the sails go up. You'll head north or east or back home, if you can call home anymore. The captain gathers the crew that night. His voice is low, steady. He speaks of winds, stars, the next port. You listen, but you're not really listening. You're thinking of the feel of dirt underfoot. You're thinking of that brief moment of peace beneath a tree. But you don't regret returning to the ship, because the sea calls. It always does. Somewhere out there is another shore, another trade, another night sky to read like scripture. Your hammock swings slightly. You lie back and stare at the sails overhead. The stars begin to appear, old friends now. A gull cries in the dark. You close your eyes. You dream of land, but you belong to the water. Because no matter how green the coast or how warm the fire, you will always feel the pull of the tide. You will always wake to the creak of wood and the scent of salt. You will always wonder what lies beyond the next wave. The ocean does not let go. It only pauses. You reach into your pouch and feel a smooth stone, a small thing you picked up from the shore. A token, a reminder. You press it to your palm, then to your heart, not to keep the land close, but to carry it with you into the waves. You lie still, yet nothing feels still. The ship no longer rocks beneath you. The sails have been lowered. The anchor rests. Your boots are dry. Your bunk, though narrow and rough, no longer shifts with the current. And yet, the sea remains. Inside you, even here, on solid ground, surrounded by quiet walls and familiar smells. The rhythm of the ocean echoes within your chest. The motion is phantom now, but it's constant. You sway slightly as you walk, as if still correcting for the lurch of a wave. You feel the gentle give of a deck beneath your steps, even though it's wooden floorboards you cross now. Every sound, creaking beams, dripping water, the rattle of the car outside, they all twist themselves into memories of ropes, sails, and oars. You survived. The voyage is over. The storms passed. The sickness ended. You made it through endless days of hunger, cold, fear, and isolation. You crossed the sea and returned. But you're not the same. The ocean has left its mark on you. Not scars on your skin, though you have those too. The mark is deeper, buried in your muscles, your bones, your blood. Your fingers remember the tension of soaked rope. Your shoulders still feel the weight of barrels lifted in haste before a wave could knock them loose. Your ears strain for the snap of sails or the call of the bosun, even in silence, even in sleep. Sometimes you dream of water, not drowning, not sinking, just floating, carried by the swell, cradled in the vastness. There's a strange peace in that. The sea, in all its violence, taught you something. How small you are and how strong. Because to face the sea and live is no small thing. You close your eyes and listen. No wind howls. No waves slam. But in your mind, the rigging sings softly. The gulls cry overhead. And somewhere, far out beyond this room, the tide is rising. You remember the morning you first left port. The damp chill of anticipation in your chest. The way the harbor shrank behind you as sails filled and the ship moved forward. Not quickly, not smoothly, but forward. You remember the men, their voices, their laughter, coarse and loud, their songs, off-key and always the same. You remember the smell of them, salt and sweat, fish and fear. You remember how silence could fall like fog when someone coughed. That sick, deep cough none of you wanted to hear. You remember the days without wind, the way the ship sat still, as if held by the hand of some ancient god who had grown tired of watching you struggle. You remember the sun baking your skin, your lips cracking, your throat too dry for curses. You remember the nights when the stars came out and you'd lie awake, trying to count how many constellations you'd memorized just to keep your mind busy. You remember the death. Quiet ones, quick ones, one or two that no one saw coming, wrapped in cloth, tied with stone, lowered gently over the side. No ceremony, just a nod, a prayer, a splash. The sea never said thank you. It just took what it was given. And yet you love it, not in the way you love family or home, but the way you love something you fought and feared and survived, like a scar you run your finger over in the dark, not sure if it hurts or soothes. The sea is in your blood now. It's in your sweat, your breath. You walk differently. You speak slower, listen longer. You know things others don't. How to smell a coming storm, how to tie a dozen knots in the dark, how to wait out fear and still get the job done. You've been shaped by the voyage, polished, not unlike the stones you once found in the hold. Broken at first, but smooth now, weathered by endless contact. You're not soft. But you're not brittle either. You become like the ship itself, built to bend, not break. And still, something tugs at you. Even here, even now, far from the crashing surf and snapping sails, part of you longs to return, not to the danger, exactly, but to the horizon, the not knowing, the challenge. The land is solid, but predictable. The days follow a script: sun, food, work, rest. On the sea, time melted. A minute can feel like an hour, a week like a day. You live by instinct, by gut, and there was something raw and real in that. Stillness feels strange now. A table that doesn't tilt, a bed that doesn't sway. You find yourself waking at night, expecting to shift your weight with a swell, and when you don't, you feel unmoored in a different way. But these changes, they're not losses. They're transformations. You've grown into a version of yourself that only the sea could shape. You understand limits now, of your body, your courage, your patience. You've seen men crack and rise. You've seen fear become faith. You've seen the world's edge and come back. Not everyone does. Some never return. They vanish into fog, into tide, into myth. Their names become whispered warnings, or forgotten entirely. But you carry them too. Every knot you tie, every barrel you lift, every night you sit quietly by the fire and think of the stars. You carry them. They're in you now. Like the ocean, you step outside. The wind smells different here. Not sharp and salted, but clean, earthy. Still, you close your eyes and pretend it's a sea breeze. Just for a moment, you hear birds. Not gulls, sparrows. But you imagine wings over waves. You walk slowly. The town is familiar. The path ahead is lined with trees, not ropes. The faces you pass are fresh, untouched by the sea's hand. You smile a little to yourself. You're older than you look now, not by years, by miles. At home, someone greets you, a friend, a lover, a child. They ask you what it was like. You pause. How do you explain it? You say little, a shrug. It was hard. They don't press. They don't need to. That night, you lie in bed, a real bed, and you listen. Nothing creaks. Nothing rocks. But you feel the sea anyway, not as a threat, but as a pulse, a rhythm beneath your ribs, a reminder. You close your eyes. Salt still clings to your hair. Your nails are stained from pitch and tar. Your dreams are filled with sails, storms, and stars. The ocean changed you, and though your voyage has ended, its legacy remains. The sea lives in your blood now, forever.